What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I am Ken, and today, guys, I wanted to share some of my Disney physical media hopes and dreams and just some wishes that I have for them to do moving forward as they get more into physical media. Of course, this coming off of the recent comments that Bob Iger made in his earnings call, the Disney earnings call, where he said that they wanted to get more into physical media. He wanted to get back into physical media. It was a revenue stream that they're losing out on. They don't want to just be streaming. They want to get back more into physical media. So he made those comments, and of course, I talked about that on the Physical Media Report. I did another video. I've talked about all of that stuff, so if you want to go back and check that out for more details, feel free to do so. But today, off of those comments, my mind just started to go everywhere. I've been thinking about all kinds of things that they could do, some things that I want to see them do. Of course, there's the obvious stuff, and we're going to talk about that here today as well. But there's some stuff that's like way, probably out of the realm of possibility. But I'm going to talk about it too. Just some deep dive stuff that I want to see them do that they're probably not going to do, but I would like to see it. Because when Disney announces, we want to get back into physical media, your mind runs wild. Like what the movies that they could put out, like the possibilities are really endless at this point. They've been sitting on so many movies for far too long. But look, before we get into this video, subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. I cover physical media like every single day on the channel. So if you like that kind of stuff, hit the subscribe button and then comment down below, guys. What are some of your Disney physical media hopes, dreams, wishes? You know, Disney told us to wish upon a star, right? A long time ago. So that's what I'm going to do here today with these, physical media hopes and dreams. I got this all laid out here. I've got tons of notes to get into. Again, I don't want this video to be too long. I tend to ramble with these kind of videos is what I do. But like I said, I'm just excited. I'm excited about the possibilities of what Disney could do. What is Disney getting back into physical media? Of course, they're still releasing Marvel. They're still releasing Star Wars stuff. They're still releasing animated stuff. They've never gotten out of physical media. But the possibilities after the comments made that we want to get more into physical media, what does that mean? What does that look like? And obviously, guys, I'm not so naive to think that this means that they're just going to go full force back into it just because he said that, and they're going to be putting out all their movies, all their catalog, Fox, Touchstone, all this stuff is just going to come like within the first year. It's not. I know that. I realize that. Maybe none of it will come. Who knows? Maybe this is just them blowing smoke up our butts. Who knows? I heard a lot of people comment on the recent videos that I made. I'll believe it when I see it. I'm kind of in that mindset as well. But at the same time, I can get excited and my mind can run wild and think about this stuff. So let's get into it. The first thing that I want Disney to do is rectify a wrong that occurred last year. A new movie that never got put out on physical media. This was a Fox Searchlight Pictures movie by the name of Barbarian. That movie still does not have a Blu-ray or 4K. And when I made that video talking about that, everybody commented, oh, the guy, Roy Lee or whatever, the producer said that he's working on an audio commentary. It's going to be on a physical media release. It's supposed to be coming out in December. December was 3 months ago. It's still not out yet. We still do not have a physical media release for Barbarian. Get that out immediately. That should be the easiest thing to do. So get Barbarian out on not just Blu-ray, but 4K. I expect the 4K for that movie. It was financially successful at the box office. That movie should have a Blu-ray. It would absolutely kill on the physical media market. Like all the horror fans, like that's your physical media bread and butter right there. Like the horror fans love this stuff. They love buying the new horror releases. So put Barbarian out on Blu-ray and 4K, and just pray to God that people still care enough about the movie, they remember it to buy it. They will. We'll buy it. I will buy that movie for sure. Put Barbarian out on physical media. That's the first thing that you do. That's the first mistake that you make up for. I don't really care too much about the Marvel and the Star Wars stuff as much anymore, but they did something, I think about a year ago, that really pissed a lot of like superhero Marvel fans and Star Wars fans off. They put the IMAX on Disney Plus when it's not on physical media, and they also put Dolby Vision on Disney Plus as well, making the definitive way that you could watch their Marvel and Star Wars stuff. Well, maybe it was just Marvel that did it too. I don't know if they did Star Wars or not. Again, I didn't watch any of it, but making the definitive version on Disney Plus and not the physical copy. So the next thing that you guys do is you re-release your Marvel movies with the IMAX ratio and Dolby Vision. That definitely needs to happen so you can make your Marvel fanboys and everybody that, because there's a lot of Marvel fans that buy stuff physically. They like buying stuff physically. I know a lot of people were kind of pissed off when that happened. So you put that stuff on physical, that's the next thing you do. And I know another big thing is Dolby Atmos. Again, I don't have that full Atmos setup. I've got a soundbar with a subwoofer. I'm good with that as of right now. But they're putting out stuff without Atmos, and they need to get back into putting stuff out. And again, their Marvel movies have Atmos, their Star Wars movies have Atmos, but they released Speed last year. Again, I know it was a Fox title that had already kind of been worked on, but no Atmos on that, no Atmos on Heat that came out, no Atmos on Unbreakable that came out. Start releasing this stuff. Again, not everything has to have Atmos. I would appreciate it if it did. Of course, you know, we want more, we don't want less, but movies like Speed and some other movies that we'll mention that I hope that they put out on 4K at some point need that Dolby Atmos to give you that complete experience. So definitely put more money, invest. Guys, if you're gonna get into physical media, again, don't just let this be something that you're saying, again, blowing smoke up our butts, getting us all excited for nothing. If you're going back into physical media, go back into physical media and care and actually put the work in. The next thing I need to say is start licensing out your stuff. Again, I know that you guys want to do a lot of this stuff in-house, but let's be realistic here. You're not gonna be able to do all this stuff in-house. Like Disney's not gonna be, they're not gonna open, unless they open up like an entire physical media division and really put some money into this, you're not gonna be able to put out the stuff that we wanna get put out at the rate that we want it to be put out. So start licensing some of your titles, you know, do more stuff like you did last year with Criterion and Wall-E. Put more Pixar titles into the Criterion collection. Not every Pixar title, but stuff like Up, you know, stuff like Inside Out, I think stuff like Ratatouille, those would be perfect for the Criterion collection, but not just the Pixar stuff, but more classic animated stuff. Live action, you know, classics like from the 40s and the 50s and the 30s, like Treasure Island, Fantasia, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Darby O'Gill and the Little People, like movies like that were kind of like maybe like pre-60s, just kind of like older films that I think would fit very well into the Criterion collection. Start doing that kind of stuff because you know that you don't want to put the money and investment into stuff like that because it might not, you know, turn over the way you want it to from Disney. Let other people do it for you and put the time and put the care and put the effort into it with cool packaging. Really kind of, you know, build those releases up and release them out to the Criterion fans, and they'll pick it up and you'll make some good money off of it. So I think it would be a good idea to license out some of this other stuff that's not like very well-known Disney titles, but kind of older classics that I think would fit better in the Criterion collection. Other big titles for big box Arrow video sets, Princess Bride on 4K. And again, this is not a traditional you know, Disney title, but I think that Arrow Video could put out some of your Fox and Touchstone stuff from the past that I don't think would necessarily fit as a Disney release, but I think if you license some of this stuff out to some of the boutique labels, I think it would fit better in their collection. Princess Bride on 4K. Could you imagine a big box Arrow Video box set of the Princess Bride? I know Criterion already did it, so maybe Criterion does it, but I would love like a big box set release of the Princess Bride with booklets and all that stuff. I think it deserves that kind of release. Also, and this might be a long shot, Encino Man, which is a Hollywood Pictures, which is kind of, it's not Touchstone, but it's another kind of sub-studio that Disney, you know, created back in the, I think maybe late 80s, early 90s to put out some stuff that wasn't necessarily like marketed to families and kids, but just some other movies that was under the Disney label. They were trying to do the same thing with that they did with Touchstone. So Hollywood Pictures did Encino Man. So put Encino Man out, big 4K box set release. Like that's my dream. I know not everybody would want that, but Encino Man, can you guys imagine that big box set Arrow Video release? That would be insane. The Fly is owned by Fox. Again, Scream Factory put that out because they got it licensed from Fox when Fox was not owned by Disney. Scream Factory could put this out, license The Fly back to Scream Factory, put it out on 4K, give it a nice definitive release of the 4K, and then, you know, re-release the box set. Maybe do all the movies in 4K. I don't know, but I think that most people just want Jeff Goldblum's The Fly in 4K. Like that's the big one for sure. So definitely license out more of your stuff to these labels. You know, Kino Lorber, like we got some action movies we're going to discuss here in a second, some Fox action movies, some Touchstone action movies. Maybe you could put those out in Kino Lorber on 4K, and that would work there because they've been doing some action movies like Hard Target, and they got Face Off coming up. So I think that would fit within Kino Lorber's wheelhouse for sure. And I mean, the possibilities are endless. I don't know what Vinegar Syndrome would release from Disney or if they would ever work with Vinegar Syndrome. But I think Criterion, Arrow Video, Scream Factory, Kino Lorber could definitely release some of the Disney stuff. Some of the, again, not lesser known, but just lesser known as Disney titles. I think that some of the boutique labels would be good for. This next one that I'm going to bring up gets me very excited to even think about the possibility of. I really don't think it's going to happen. But I want a Disney Presents, kind of along the same lines as Paramount Presents. I want a Disney Presents, and what I want for this line, it would be a specific like numbered line for Disney. Again, it doesn't have to be like Paramount Presents with the flip out, fold out poster covers. It'd be cool if it was. They could do their own thing. Obviously, I would want like booklets and all that kind of stuff, all that kind of cool like swag to go along with it. Just make it like really nice additions. A Disney Presents, a numbered line for Disney, and what I want this to be for is strictly like Disney classics, like movies that are not owned by Fox, not Touchstone movies, not Hollywood Pictures. These are all Disney movies, live action. Again, I'm not against animated being in this line, but I think that it mostly needs to be the live action catalog because there's so many other places for animation to go. I want this to be like live action classic kids movies from just all the different decades. But I went over some titles. There's so many titles, guys. I'm sure you guys could think of some and put it in the comments. This gets me excited. I don't know if you guys can tell. The idea of a Disney Presents line with titles like this is along the lines of the stuff that I want in this Presents line. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Honey, I Blew Up the Kid. Blank Check. Old Yeller, which is a classic. The Shaggy Dog. Herbie the Love Bug. The Mighty Ducks. The whole trilogy I want in this set. Bed Knobs and Broomsticks. I mean, that's a classic. That honestly needs like a premiere 4K. Mary Poppins, like that needs a premiere 4K as well. Maybe you could do the same thing with Paramount Presents is doing. Some of these in Disney Presents could be 4K. Some of them can be Blu-rays and you can go back and forth. I don't know. Homeward Bound, Cool Runnings, Man of the House with Jonathan Taylor Thomas and Chevy Chase. That's a Disney movie. A Kid in King Arthur's Courts. Does anybody remember that movie? I love that. I remember seeing that in theaters. First Kid. Rocket Man with Harlan Williams. I love that movie so much. And again, I think a lot of these movies are available in the Disney Movie Club as Blu-rays, but again, I don't have the Disney Movie Club. You know, put these out available to everybody, not just the Disney Movie Club. You know, make it more not so exclusive, like make it available to everybody. Rocket Man, yeah, I love Rocket Man so much. I have not seen that movie though since I was a kid. Flubber, and then, you know, if you want to throw like an off pick in there, The Straight Story from David Lynch, is a Disney film, and it's a pure Disney film, The Straight Story. So I think that could fit into this Disney Presents line. And there's so many other ones, guys. There's so many of those like Disney, like not animated, but Disney like kids movies, kids family movies from all the different decades that would fit perfectly in this line. And just talking about it gets me excited. Just some kind of like numbered line from Disney, kind of along the same lines as Paramount Presents, would be super awesome. Again, I think that that's probably the most far-fetched out of everything that I'm going to discuss here today. I just don't think that Disney would want. But again, if you're going to get back into physical media, if you're serious about getting back into physical media, then why not do stuff like this? It would sell. It would sell huge, especially amongst collectors. And if you make it numbered, like we're going to be all in on this line for sure. Blank Check. God, I would kill for a Blu-ray at Blank Check. That was one of my favorite movies when I was a kid. All right, let's get into the next stuff. Aliens and True Lies, like we need those on 4K. Like this is more of like an immediate thing, and hopefully they're already working on these. Aliens and True Lies, 100% we need those like this year. Like don't wait any longer. Aliens, True Lies, Titanic, all the James Cameron stuff needs to come to 4K. The Abyss this year. Like quit dragging your feet on this. Like this 100% needs to happen. So hopefully with this, you know, push into physical media by Disney, we get this stuff this year. But not just Aliens and True Lies, those are the two big ones, and really like all the other Alien films as well. Like people would appreciate Alien 3, people would appreciate Alien Resurrection. Like those two as well need to be in 4K along with Aliens, but Aliens is definitely the big one. of that franchise. But plus other Fox titles in 4K, guys, like we need Jingle All the Way. Like this Christmas, we need Jingle All the Way. Home Alone 2, we need Home Alone 2 on 4K. We got the first one, we need the second one. Edward Scissorhands in 4K. It's a classic Tim Burton film. Like all the other classic Tim Burton movies have 4Ks. We need one for Edward Scissorhands this year for sure. And I'm not even a huge Edward Scissorhands fan, but I know a lot of people are, and they would kill for that movie on 4K. The rest of the Die Hard franchise, like we have the first one, we need the second one, we need the Die Hard with a Vengeance. I know a lot of people really want that one. To Live Free or Die Hard, we need that one. Some people could probably settle for not getting Good Day to Die Hard, but if you're going to do them all, you might as well do that one too. And then, yeah, like I said, the Alien franchise, Broken Arrow, I would lose my mind if we got Broken Arrow on 4K. I love that movie so much, such an underrated action classic. So yeah, the Fox titles, like there's so many, there's such a rich Fox catalog of movies out there, guys, and we need them. There's so many that haven't even got Blu-ray releases yet. We're not even going to get into all that. I got a separate series for that on the channel where I talk about movies that need Blu-rays. We'll talk about that there. But they got so many titles that need to be upgraded to 4K. We need Blu-rays for the Fox catalog stuff. Like needs to come like ASAP. The next thing, guys, again, I'm covering all the bases here. Streaming only movies and TV shows need physical releases. Like the stuff that you release movies only on Disney Plus, we need those physically. Like I wasn't a huge fan of Lady and the Tramp when that came out. I think they premiered Disney Plus with that, but it needs a physical media release like all the other live action stuff has it, so why not that? I can't think of a lot of the other stuff that they've done like exclusive. I think there's definitely some other like exclusive movies on there. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I feel like they did one recently on Disney Plus that was only streaming, but the TV shows is definitely the big one. Mandalorian. You guys are losing so much freaking money by not releasing Mandalorian physically and these big nice box set releases. Like that would be amazing. Like we want the Mandalorian on 4K physically. Like people would kill for that. Like they would love that. That's such a great show. And while you're at it, the other stuff, Obi-Wan, you got WandaVision. Like the Marvel fans would eat that stuff up. Loki, Falcon Winter Soldier, Hawkeye, like all that stuff. Again, I know they all have like bootleg releases, but they all need legitimate 4K and Blu-ray releases. They are a part of the Marvel universe and people would want those in their collection and they would sell like crazy. So you have got to start getting into that. And to answer the question of, well, that's kind of how Disney Plus kind of gets their subscribers. They have this exclusive content. I understand that. I get that. Wait a year, give it a year. When it comes out, when it premieres on Disney Plus, you got plenty of other stuff coming down the pike. You don't have to, hold on to this stuff forever and make it exclusive to Disney Plus. A year. You put it out and a year later it gets a physical media release. Give it that kind of window. And that way, if people want to see it when it comes out, they subscribe to Disney Plus. If they want to wait a year, pick it up physically, they can, but you give them the option, let them pick it up a year later. So that definitely needs to happen. Also, Prey, which came out on Hulu, which is owned by Disney, that desperately needs a 4K and Blu-ray release. And again, part of the Predator franchise, every other Predator movie has a 4K. Prey needs a 4K release as well. Also, Hellraiser, I know Hulu put that out, but again, owned by Disney. I don't know how the affiliation works with Hellraiser and Disney, but that needs a physical release as well. I didn't love the movie, but it needs a physical release. And then, we talked about the Fox stuff that needs, 4K releases. Let's talk about Touchstone a little bit. So I've got some Touchstone titles right here that need 4Ks off the top of my head. Waterboy. I just picked this up on Blu-ray, I know, but I would love a 4K Waterboy. I want more 4K comedy movies. Armageddon. This is a huge one. People would love Armageddon on 4K. You need to make this happen like ASAP. Signs. I love this movie. It's one of my top 20 movies of all time, and it needs a 4K release. And there's some other Shyamalan stuff that needs a 4K as well that's owned by Disney. We'll talk about that here in a second under a different studio. But this is Touchstone. Yeah, Signs, but also owned by Touchstone. This is one of the first Touchstone movies they ever made, Splash. And that doesn't even have a Blu-ray yet. That needs a Blu-ray and a 4K. That is such a great movie. I watched that for the first time last year. It's so great. Like Tom Hanks is like at his best in that movie. It's one of his earlier performances. John Candy, Daryl Hannah. I love everybody in the movie. It's such a funny, hilarious movie. and it would look great on 4K. We need that movie on Blu-ray at least, but 4K, come on. And Con Air, I didn't bring Con Air over here, but I have been calling for Con Air forever. And again, you could do Armageddon, you could do Con Air on the Kino Lorber 4Ks. You could license some of that stuff out to Kino Lorber, Arrow Video, if you wanted to do that. But I think that these are big titles that would sell, so I feel like Disney would probably want to do that themselves. But again, if you're gonna do it, Disney, do it right. Add that Atmos in and all that stuff, all the bells and whistles. Pretty Woman is a huge one. Like, the people would eat that up on 4K. We just got a Julia Roberts 4K, My Best Friend's Wedding. We need Pretty Woman. The Village is another Shyamalan movie owned by Touchstone that still does not have a Blu-ray release. And to be honest, at this point, put that sucker out on 4K. Ransom with Mel Gibson. I love that movie. That's a Touchstone movie that it has a Blu-ray, but that needs a 4K for sure. Enemy of the State, which is a Tony Scott film. I wanted to say Ridley. Tony Scott film with Will Smith and Gene Hackman. I love that movie. I got the Blu-ray, but that needs a 4K for sure. Gone in 60 Seconds, another big one with Nicolas Cage. That needs a 4K for sure. That's all the Touchstone stuff. And then you got the Hollywood Picture stuff that Disney also owns, like Tombstone is Hollywood Pictures. Like, this was a rumor like a year or so ago that Tombstone was coming to 4K from Disney. And again, this was a Hollywood Pictures. So you need to put this one back on the table because this would sell crazy good. Like, everybody would eat Tombstone up for sure. The Sixth Sense, this is a Hollywood Pictures as well. I think this was one of the maybe last Hollywood Pictures movies, if I was reading correctly. I did a lot of research before I went into this, but The Sixth Sense definitely needs a 4K release. And yeah, that's all I got, guys. That's pretty much all my hopes and dreams and wants and wishes. And I'm just excited. I'm excited that Bob Iger made this announcement. And I got a lot of comments about Bob Iger in my videos talking about how he's the reason that we're in this position now with Disney and physical media. I understand that. I get that. But I'm just happy that he's seeing the light. Like, you have to be grateful for that. And again, it remains to be seen what is actually going to come of this. We could just get 30 more like exclusives for Marvel movies and Star Wars movies. And it might not be anything significant. But you never know. And he made those comments, and I believe he made those comments for a reason. I think we're going to get something. We may not get stuff on the level that I'm wanting them to do. Again, I talked about a lot of stuff here. I don't think we're going to get everything I talked about. But I hope we do. I really hope we do. I need to be optimistic. And I feel like I really feel like the tide is going to turn. I feel like it's going to turn. Physical media is dead. Everybody's calling for the death of physical media. I feel like we're coming to a spot where people are going to start realizing that these streaming services aren't where it's at. It's not where it's at. You need to own the movies that you love physically. Have them in your hands, in your collection, so nobody can take them away from you. And I think that more people, as time goes on, are going to realize that, and we're going to be in a better spot with physical media in 5 years. Again, could be wrong. It could be completely dead by then. But I'm trying to be optimistic, guys. I run a physical media channel, YouTube, Blu-rays, 4Ks. This is what I do, and I love it. And I want this stuff to thrive and prosper. So yeah, that's the video, guys. I appreciate you guys watching. Leave me some comments down below, guys. Let me know what you hope and dream that Disney will do in the future as it pertains to physical media. Let me know that in the comment section below. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on those bell notifications, follow me on all my social media accounts down below. I'm on Twitter, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Letterboxd, I'm on Instagram, all the social medias. Follow me down below in the description, and we'll see you next time.